People come from all walks of life. They all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. My guest today is a singer, songwriter, let's see what else, a filmmaker, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Vandervert. Hello, Luke.
Hi, Nancy. Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, it's my pleasure, for sure. I really appreciate you doing this. I just have to ask you something. You're known as the Arctic.
Ah, the Arctic. Yeah, I like the cold place.
Okay, so how did that come about?
Well, initially I was trying to capture a feeling. There's something about when you go outside and it's freezing, and you just get jolted awake.
Right.
I was trying to find a way to describe that, and I was racking my brain. There is a scientific word for it, but it's not really catchy. And then a friend of mine suggested, why don't you try a location instead? And that combined with me being originally from Alaska, it just felt like a fun little connection to make. So.
Oh, I like that. That's really good. That's kind of like my show, like small talk, because I'm short.
Oh, me too. It's like
We have something in common. Now, you specialize in, let's see now, worship music. Is that correct?
yeah. I've been involved with churches my whole life. It's as a kid, and so when it came to songwriting, that was probably one of the first languages of the whole artistic process that kind of made sense to me. So that would be typically my area that I most known for doing, but that's typically where it would go, but it does vary a little bit now. Lately I've been getting into doing covers of random pop songs, whatever people put on my lap. So it's been quite fun, but I do a lot with churches and get involved with that. But.
Right. So when did this all start for you?
Yeah, with the Arctic stuff, it probably started, oh my goodness, about 6 years ago. I had initially that kind of started with the idea. I wanted to do music, but having a name that usually isn't, the catchiest of names, Vandervert is not a great, hook if you do it. And so that's kind of where the Arctic took over. But I've been writing songs ever since I was in high school. I've always found that there's something with music and poetry. When you combine those two things, it can express double. For me anyway, it did. And so I could say what I wanted, and then I could use the music to accentuate those feelings and really give them a different meaning that I found resonated within me. So that's kind of what started for that. And then having been involved with high school bands, as a kid, and getting all my angst out and that rock stuff, I just love doing music. That was a huge part of my upbringing. My parents, I remember my parents had a cassette of Beach Boys, and I remember probably killing that cassette twice because I just play it all the time, and I just loved it. It was just at a young age, just music clicked with me, and I love everything to do with it. I love hearing different interpretations of music. I love hearing different eccentricities, these wonderful qualities that people have and communicate and express through art. And yeah, music's definitely been that thing that's been with me my whole life.
That's really awesome. I like that. I mean, I love music too. I have a wonderful musical last name, but I'm not musical. Just a good name.
Oh, we can trade if you want.
Yeah, that would be good. So now, what kind of filmmaking other than worship music do you do?
Right. So, I started doing film. It kind of got put in my lap, actually. My father-in-law had to do a music video for I think it was a Vineyard Canada, and at that point we didn't have anything or any idea, but he said, you know, someone's got this little Canon Rebel camera. Why don't we just make something with that? So I went out and bought a smoke machine, and we kind of did some stuff in this really moody song, and it was really kind of fun to make.
Right.
And then years later, there was another chance to do it, and so we decided, oh, let's go buy an actual camera that can do it. And then ever since then, it's kind of interesting because most of the music I've done obviously has been with churches and doing church music, and the music video thing kind of just carried in that direction a little bit. But I think it was difficult because I know for artists like myself, it's hard to find, well, it's hard to pay for music videos because it gets quite expensive. So
Right.
I think on the film side, it was just an opportunity to kind of cross my love of music to actually helping out my fellow artists, you know, like my friends that in essence is kind of nice because then I can help them create something that, you know, and part of it is that I won't say yes to a project unless I feel the song in some way. So if it's like, here's a song and I'm not really clicking with it, I'm not gonna force it into being. It's like I love music so much, I don't want to do it a disservice.
Right.
So to actually hear what the song is and like, oh yeah, this is, oh, I can see this idea, and then kind of work with them on that. So it was kind of a neat thing. So most of what I do is music videos. That's probably the majority of what I do. But it started bridging that at the beginning of, well, yeah, it was Christmas. This last Christmas, we decided to do a TV special.
Oh.
And so we kind of brought both those elements in. So we had, it was a Christmas at our house with Brian Dirksen and friends, and we did two kind of film ideas. So we had one in the space that I'm actually in right now, and we had like, you know, a band in here, and we captured everything live. We kind of, you know, did this really kind of neat, not music video, live performance. We captured a live performance, but then we interjected this story into it, and the story was just, I mean, story, I kind of say it's basically just stories around the a hangout time. So we filmed that in the house, and we have, you know, the Seward family and the Dirksen family, and they're all kind of sitting, we're capturing just, you know, stories that are being shared and different elements and that. And so yeah, it was quite something. So that kind of opened the door into getting a little bit into the cinematic stuff a little bit. We carried that into the second special that we made in Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third special we made was a little bit more documentarian. It's a little bit more kind of like, here's the song, here's the story behind the song. And that was for a hymns project. So it's like a bit of a history lesson when it comes to that hymn. It was so, that was kind of a little bit more in that documentative side, but yeah. But I you know, I would say primarily I love doing music videos, and I love creating stories from a song, whether that's the story of the song or an inspired story of the song.
That sounds awesome. It really does. Now, you've performed with a number of other artists as well, have you not?
Yeah, I've shared the stage with a couple folks.
Drop some names.
Well, I mean, obviously, my father-in-law and I, Brian Dirksen, we did Agri Fair this last August, which was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And that was with Chelsea Amber. And Chelsea's an amazing artist out here. If you haven't heard Chelsea, you have to. She's so good.
I'd love to hear
I've had the honor of working with Mr. Ryan McAllister. Ryan actually produced my EP, and Ryan is a gem of the whole, I would say, BC. And that guy has done so much for the community that often goes unnoticed. And so if do you know of Ryan, man, if you got to know Ryan, because Ryan's songs are so good, and his recordings are wonderful too. You know, it's just great. So I've done stuff with Ryan Colmont as well. I did do a thing, that was a couple of years ago, with Marika Seward at the GMAs in Alberta. When we did the GMA Awards, we played our song that we collaborated on together called Diversity. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's been a journey. I've been very fortunate to meet some really amazing people out there.
That's very nice. Yeah, I think that's great. Now, you were featured on, what is that, noisetrade.com?
Yeah. That was a neat mistake. That was in Noise Trade. It's now been purchased by Paste. But before that, Noise Trade used to be a service where you could put a song on their website, and people could get that song for free in exchange for their email. They had contacted me, and they'd liked the song that I was sharing, and they said, "Hey, could we promote it for our in our newsletter?" Of course, it's a promotion, so you're paying a little bit for it. And so I was like, sure, you know, like it was like $50 or something. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I sent it their way, and then somehow it got missed, and it didn't go in the newsletter. And they sent this a massive apology back, and they said, you know, like we're so sorry about this. As kind of like a recruitment, can we put you on the front page and just like and put you as like the main artist of the and I was like, okay. So that was such a kind thing of them to do. I mean, it's like, as artists, we are always, you know, it's such like on the music side, it's always kind of like a scramble to get your songs heard.
Yeah.
So that was a really kind thing that they did. So I miss Noise Trade. Paste is good, but I do miss Noise Trade.
And also, what about JesusFreakHideout.com?
Yeah. Jesus, those guys have been friends of mine for some time. And Jesus Freak Hideout's actually a really great website for independent artists, because especially with everything to do with the CCM industry and the worship industry, everything related to that. I hate using the word industry for it, but it's what it is. It is so hard to break through a ceiling. It is quite challenging. It's a tough place to get your stuff heard and shared.
Right.
And Jesus Freak Hideout has been a website since the beginning that they kind of opened the door to independent artists, and they have their main news, which is like all the Chris Tomlin stuff and the Michael W. Smith stuff. But then they have an independent section where it's indie artists. It's people like myself and people like like Chelsea and that, and even more established artists that are independent now, like Carolyn Aarons and Brian Dirksen. All those guys can actually get into that independent side a lot easier. You can send in a story, and they're gonna most likely post it unless it's super controversial. But it's like, and so that has been really kind of helpful. But yeah, they did a review on the Reverberate EP when it came out, which was really nice of them to do. Very
good. You talked about the GMA Covenant Award, but I don't know what that means. What is GMA?
The GMA is the Gospel Music Awards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so there's the GMAs in the States, and then there's GMAs in Canada. And so the GMAs in the States, I think, is the Dove Awards, and then in Canada, it's the Covenant Awards.
I see, okay.
Yeah, both the same association, but...
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And now, in 2021, you won a Leo Award for Best Direction, sorry. Oh, so that was your Christmas special, right?
Yeah. Marika and I got a stinking award for it, which was kind of cool. I I didn't even know we submitted it. So it was a nice email to get in my inbox, and yeah, it's so cool. And at first, and it's probably why I didn't know what they put my name on it initially, was because it was a co-direct that Marika and I did. Marika works so much in the film industry, and her whole family does amazing stuff. They're all actors, and me only doing music videos and not really knowing about how TV really works. It was like she was a necessary part of the puzzle. So for her to come in and kind of like, well, like we got to film it this way for TV, and this is why, and and TV wants to see this, and so it was like so good. So when the Leo got in, it was like, well, it kind of makes sense. Marika's amazing, of course. So I'm so happy that she's got something now, right? Like for in the acting world, a Leo is a big deal. So it's like, I mean, I'm just a guy that makes music videos, so it's, I'm happy and I'm very honored that it's there. But I'm really stoked for her because I think it's going to be really big.
Very good, yeah. Now you partnered in 2020. You partnered with I'm just reading off of your bio here, the Duncan Africa Society. So what is that?
Yeah, so Duncan Africa is it's amazing. So Duncan Africa was started by Jay Duncan. And Jay had basically done this missions trip to Uganda. And while he was there, he kind of realized a big part of the poverty problem is that there's not really an economy. And with the lack of an economy, there's not really a chance for skill development or anything like that. So he had this idea. He's a luthier. He used to work with Larvae for a long time, or Larvae. So he worked for them, and then he started making his own guitars, and his guitars are really, really nice. Really beautiful guitars. And so he started the PG school, luthier school. Basically, it's a school of trades. And how it works is it's actually a sponsorship. So anyone that signs up to be a part of the class, they have their tuition covered. So everything, their tuition's covered. Nice. Their basic needs are met as students. And so where that money comes from is from people supporting Duncan Africa and people buying the guitars from Duncan Africa.
Oh, nice.
And so I wish I had my guitar with me. It's in the house. But what's really cool is that you get, when you buy a guitar, the name of the student that built it is in the guitar.
Oh, nice.
So mine was built by a lovely gentleman named Simon. And so you can kind of get, and it's kind of neat too. On the inside, on the bottom, it's hard. You can't really read it because it's on the top of the guitar, but they'll put a Bible verse in there. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like what their favorite Bible verse is, just to kind of add that little bit more of their own. It's their instrument that they're making, so They just kind of bring in another touch of their personality in that way.
What an awesome concept! Oh,
it's so good, and Jay has done an amazing job with it, and I really hope. I just want everyone to hear about it, because their guitars are awesome. Like, it's so hard to find a solid wood guitar that is pristine and isn't $5,000,
Yeah.
And they're great instruments. I've had mine for years, and I kind of made my sister-in-law buy one as a backup for me, just in case mine has an accident of some kind. But no, they're amazing. Duncan Africa, good stuff.
Africa, I never heard of it, so I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's talk about some of your other interests, right? Cooking.
Yeah, I do love cooking. I kind of liked cooking before COVID, but COVID kind of really took it over. I've really been getting into smoking meat.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, we bought a smoker, and we've been kind of dabbling a little bit in barbecue, and that whole world is something special. So yeah, we love doing it. I made handmade pesto the other night, so that was pretty fun.
Very good. Now, one of the things I like that you said is you like to laugh and have a good time with those around you. I mean, like I'm a person who believes that laughter is so healing.
Mhm.
That if you can laugh, no matter how bad things are in your life, if you can laugh, you're going to be okay. That's my belief.
Absolutely. I think the ability to share in laughter, I think it's the ultimate icebreaker. It's like
True.
you can have an uncomfortable room, but if everyone can laugh together, everyone kind of becomes bonded in that moment, and
Yeah.
and you can say a lot of things through like saying things in a funny way. You can communicate a lot of heavy subject matter in a funny way that actually makes it acceptable almost, like it's yeah. I would never call myself a comedian. I am not funny, but I really enjoy the comedian's work.
Well, we're running out of time, but I just want to know, what do you have in the works, if anything?
Yeah, well, just recently we released another music video by Brian Dirksen. It's called 215, and it's about the unmarked grave in Kamloops, and it's probably the hardest thing I've created so far in regards to video.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very important song, and part of it is because coming from us that are Canadians and Christians, we kind of felt this is an important time to protest our own people a bit.
Yeah.
Because what happened was horrible and should never happen again.
Yeah.
And we need to be repentant of that, and we need to reconcile with it with action.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that this is a step that direction. And I hope, I believe that art tends to be the forefront of change.
Right.
And I hope that this is one of the boulders to start building a beautiful monument to something in the future.
So now where can, if somebody wanted to hear that?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Oh,
so if you just type in 215 Brian Dirksen, it should pop up. There's some wonderful faces in there. Marika's in there as well, as I mentioned before. Carolyn Aarons and Steve Bell are also involved. Two absolute heavy hitters of artists for Canada. Carly Rearson, who's amazing singer from Alberta. She's in it. And, some solid Abbotsford and Mission folks like Brenda Jans and Philip Jans and Brian Thiessen and Laura Lee Thiessen, and a little snippet of Sammy Thiessen, because Sammy has a solo line in it, and it's just absolutely touching. So
I'm sure there's things we didn't get mentioned, so you're going to have to come back on, but
I would love to.
Right, that would be really good. But I'm just, because I'm running out of time. Well, I could make this longer, but I don't. I try to keep set.
It's all good.
It's all good. Yeah. So this will force you to come back because there's still more stuff to talk about. Okay.
Absolutely, love to.
Anyway, just stay on camera while I say goodbye to everyone here. Oh, everybody! I really hope you enjoyed listening to Luc Vandervert and what he has to say, and hear about his music. And we're gonna check out. I'm gonna include there's a YouTube. Brian's demo, right? It's on YouTube.
Well, it's the actual video's up now, so
Okay. So I can share that with everybody. And anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care and peace out. Oh.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, Go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see.